Y'all, it's your typical stories, it's your typical opinions, and I'm typically Toya. And you are my reflections. So pull up a chair because today's reflection begins now. I'm so glad you're here. First of all, just let me say thank you for being here. And this is the channel that I've created that I'm hoping to become something very special to you. So from now on, every episode, typically Tori, I'm going to follow a certain cadence. I've created a rhythm for us to follow so that we can slow down together, that we might have some honest conversation, and then we'll laugh a little, and then we'll leave with something to carry us into the week. So I'm almost guessing it's your first time here since this is the very first video of my 52 episode special. Let's get into it with the 52 reflections. We're going to start right now with this mindful moment. And let's get into it. So, before we get into the entire video, I want you to slow down a little bit with me. So, we're going to do that by breathing. And I want you to just take a slow, deep breath in through the nose and release it out through the mouth. Let your shoulders drop and feel the stress release. And today's mindful quote, close your eyes as I recite this to you. Sometimes solitude is not life pushing you away, but it's life pulling you closer to yourself. Now take another deep breath in. Whatever's on your mind, whatever's got your mind racing today, whatever's got your shoulders feeling heavy and too uplifted and tight, release that with your breathing out because you don't have to solve all of that right now. Just be here. Just find yourself in the present and get grounded there as we go along. Now let's reflect. Today I wanted to reflect on this one question, and let's start with this. Why am I always alone? Why am I always alone? I don't know if anyone else is experiencing this. And here I am, a mom, a wife, a mother of six, and a grandson. It seems that I would have plenty of company all the time. But at this point in my life, I'm finding myself alone a whole lot more lately. Now, I'm not talking about living alone, of course. I'm not talking about somebody who's single or not in a relationship, but I'm talking about the feeling that we get. Even when we can be surrounded by people, we still somehow feel like we're carrying it all by ourselves. Why am I always alone? I don't know. I used to think that my being alone meant that I was lonely, that I was lacking friendship, that I was lacking love, maybe even being unliked to a degree, which caused me to start feeling like, you know what, maybe I'm just not enough. Maybe my character is not enough to hold people around, to keep people satisfied, to keep people's attention. Maybe I failed somewhere down the line. But I see myself reducing relationships more and more, reducing interaction more and more. Is it social media driving this divine separation? I spend a lot of time there. I spend a lot of time on social media. I'm scrolling. But what's happening to the physical interaction? When the family get together, it's not getting together like they used to. When the invitations stop coming, where does that leave us? Are we destined for living alone and dying alone? I think all of us, to a degree, are utterly alone in life. But what I've learned in my solitude is that being alone is always not it's not always the same as being abandoned or being uncared for or being neglected. Sometimes it is life changing. Sometimes it is growing up. Sometimes it's reflecting on old relationships and mistakes. Sometimes it's just a friendship just dissipating or fading away, not necessarily tearing apart, but it just ends. And sometimes people just walk away, because seasons do change. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm not worthy of staying around for. I don't feel like that, but I know in my subconscious I could be harboring some feelings of self worthiness, not holding that value that I feel for my worth. And I'm gonna just say this: I know that this is just a this might be a rough kind of video, but I have to admit that my family it has really broken down and broken up to the point where we're rarely meeting. I'm not on the phone. I'm not speaking to people individually. I'm not in groups. I'm not finding myself around those that I love the most anymore. Why am I always alone? Am I punishing myself for something? Or is this really a revelation time? Is this really a time when life gets quiet to let me hear myself think? Is this where I finally get to change? And I finally get to stop avoiding confronting some of these behaviors that I've had for years. And I'm doing this when I'm in my private, quiet time. And see, I've spent so much time alone. I've started using this alone time for my creativity, and I would let that be the reason. Oh, it's quieter. I could concentrate better, you know? But there still comes a question in my mind. Why? Why is this happening now? I'm always finding myself alone as the children have grown up. I have three grown children who do not live with me, and I have one being ready to move out. That leaves me with two children left in the house. So it gets a little quieter. Can you hear anything right now? My husband, he is great. He's not always here. He works a lot. When he's home, I know he wants his quiet time too. So here I go again, being separate, going into another space, committing to the silence again. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I actually even enjoy it. And sometimes, can I just be real? I actually even plan it to be that way. Because I don't want to be in a position where I feel like people can fill voids that only faith can fill, that only my own healing can fill. And I don't want to be in a space where I'm using people to fill the void of my self appreciation and my self love. I want to give myself time for that. And that's one realization that has totally changed my view on why I'm always alone. Y'all, we've been a little serious, but I'm just gonna lighten the mood a little bit because it's typically toy to joke around. But can I just tell you this for a minute? Half the time when y'all be saying y'all lonely and somebody call your phone, what you do? Stare at it till it stop ringing. Or somebody pull up at your house unannounced, what you do? Hide behind that curtain till they stop knocking. Or we might say, the company staying over a little too long. They came and sat down, didn't want to leave. Or what about that little cousin that's calling and needs somewhere to stay for a few weeks? This when we call on their solitude. Wait a minute. That's disturbing my peace. Sometimes we don't need another person. We just need somebody to understand us, understand why we like to keep it quiet and why we like to keep our door closed. All right. So don't be that person though. If you know you need to be around people and you feel like you're missing that vibe, check yourself. Go around your people. Go see who you love and counsel the new people that you want to meet. And if you're not ready to go be around your family. Maybe you got some toxic stuff going on that you want to get away from. Guess what? It's a million other people in the world, 8 billion people in the world that you can get out and meet. So I want you to do that. But before you do that, before we go, I want you to take this with you. I want you to carry this with you throughout the week. Say this with me. Sometimes being alone is not life punishing me. Sometimes being alone is life introducing me to me, the version of you that's still waiting on the other side of this alone time, of this solitude. It might be the best version of you that you will ever meet. So that's this week's reflection. What has solitude taught you about yourself? I want you to leave it in the comments. Talk to me in the comments. Let me know if you've never felt the lonely angst, or if you've never felt alone. Let me know that. Maybe you are still in the crowd. Maybe you're still feeling yourself and getting out there and partying, cruising, and taking trips and being a part of the groups out there. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And if you're doing that, let me know. I want to talk about it. Let's get it. Let me know in the comments, and let's get vocal about it. I'm typically Toya, and you are my reflection. So take from this what serves you, and just leave lighter than you came. I'll see y'all next week. Until then, keep reflecting.